Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Leeds View for the match reaction for Leeds United 1, Brighton Hove Albion 0 in a real end of season game where you are sponsored by OK Jersey, where you can get 8% off of World Cup shirts for World Cup summer using the code TView in your checkout. And you can get the links for that down below if you want it. If you are ordering, order a size up. Also, the match reactions or match scores so far, these are just the current ones, are brought by Finalysis. You can join me on Finalysis using the QR code in the bottom corner or again the link down below. Right, that's about the way. Let's talk about what was a real end of season game for Leeds United, and it had the tempo of a very much end of season game and probably the quality at certain moments in the game of an end of season game. But Leeds managed to finish the season at home with another win, a 1-0 win against a very, very good Brighton side, one of the top 3 form sides in the Premier League. And they were coming into this game with something to play for. Still had a chance of getting a European spot. And Daniel Farke has maybe done the dirty on Fabian Hutzler as he did it to him when we played them at the Amex earlier on this season. And a huge turnaround. When you go back to that Brighton game at the start of the year, how poor Leeds were in that game with that 4-3-3 system. And you look how composed defensively Leeds were today in that game. And again, the quality probably wasn't there in the final third of the pitch, but they did what they needed to do and they managed to grind out a result. And then they get to the last couple of minutes and a mistake by the Brighton goalkeeper and the defender, both of them making mistakes there, leaves Dominic Calvert-Lewin in for and a lovely finish from him as well. We're giving Sam Byram the assist, by the way. I know it is Van Hecke that plays the ball backwards, but it's Byram's ball down the line, as probably Sam Byram's last game in a Leeds United shirt. So we're giving Sam Byram the assist for that goal. But it moves Leeds up to 13th in the Premier League as things stand right now. And Newcastle and West Ham are playing at 5 o'clock. We are going to, 5:30. Is it 5:30 or is it 5 o'clock? Because we are going to cover that game over on bigup.com, so you can check that out. I'm going to just check that now because I want to make sure. Yeah, 5:30. So we'll be over on Big Up to cover the West Ham game and Newcastle match as well. If you want to join us there and watch that, you can. But yeah, from Leeds' perspective, depending on what happens at Newcastle game, they need to win the game or get a point. Leeds' goal difference is also coming down more and more and more. -4. I think those 2 Arsenal games out of the equation earlier on this season. The Leeds have been in a really strong position on the goal difference front as well. Interesting to see Daniel Farke's reaction. If anyone is watching or anyone has seen Daniel Farke's reaction after the game, I am very curious to see that. But as been pointed out by playing dominoes in the chat, the worst Leeds can finish is 15th. And again, right at the start of the season, I spoke to Jermaine Beckford, I spoke to Andy Cousins, spoke to Paul Reaney. All of them, we all said the same thing. Take 17th right now off you if you possibly can get it. And Leeds have got minimum 15th. Minimum 15th. It's been a very successful season. Smash and grab doesn't play Vega, and that was a smash and grab. But again, depending on how you look at the game, and that's the important part. I always say there's 2 sides to football. There's the defensive side of the game and the attacking side of the game. From a defensive perspective, Leeds were excellent in that game. That mid-block, that patient defensive approach today was really, really good. I thought Joe Rodon was phenomenal today. I thought Jakob Bial a really good game. Sebastian Borneo came in and looked really, really comfortable in that back three, playing on the left where he doesn't normally play. He's very much a right-sided centre-back. He was excellent as well today. Ethan Ampadu, cracking game in the middle of the park. Anton Stach, really good. We just hope Anton Stach's injury isn't as bad as it looked when he went off. There was a lot of blood in the ankle. You hope there's no major damage and it is just an impact injury, because obviously he'll want to get to the World Cup, and longer term, you don't want to see that. We'll go through the individual players in a couple of minutes' time, but just we'll take it from the start and work our way through. Before the match, there was a lot of talk about Leeds' injury crisis. I would have taken a draw at the start of the game. Delighted with the win. Absolutely delighted with the win, which is fantastic because it gives Leeds 11 wins and 12 losses this season. And I think I said at the start of the season, we probably lose more games than we win, but we're only 1 off leveling that. That's a really successful season for Leeds. But going into the game, there was a lot of injuries. We saw a couple of kids on the bench. Alfie Creswell on the bench, the Leeds under-21 captain, and also the under-21 player of the year this year. And a young under-21 player as well, along with Reece Chadwick and along with Jaden Leniu. All 3 of them very young. I've still got more time in the under-21s. Would have liked to have seen one of them come on instead of Joel Piroux, because Piroux did that thing where he came on, just ran around the middle of the park and didn't do a huge amount with the ball. But I would have liked to see Alfie come on at that point, but I could understand Joel Piroux, probably his last game in the Leeds shirt, depending on how the summer goes for him. Same with Sam Byram. Chance for him to say goodbye, but a chance for all of them to clock off at home after what has been a very successful season for Leeds United. Leeds are, if you look at the European places, 52 points, 46, 6 points off of a European spot. And they are, as it stands right now, 11 points away from the relegation zone. If someone had told you that at the start of the season, you would have assumed Leeds United had a very, very successful season. So, yeah, really, really good stuff. Excellent defensive performance. And then you go into the team sheet. Ethan Ampadu passed fit. Question mark was going to be, what was his energy levels like? Well, there was no question mark on that. Come the end of the game, he was excellent in the middle of the park, smashed up a couple of players as well. And then we want to see the reaction to the Daniel Farke press conference as well. And again, going back to that video that we did the other day, I just don't think for a second it was Daniel Farke necessarily saying goodbye. And I do think that the owners would be absolutely fine with what he said as well. I think he was just laying out his cards of saying, this is what I want to see. And as fans, it's exactly what we should want to see. Leeds looking to progress and push forward into next season, not just sit on our hands and stay exactly where we are. There's a chance, and a really good chance this summer, for Leeds to close the gap on the sides ahead of them, given how much turmoil there'll be. I mean, Fulham will have a new manager. Chelsea have obviously got Xavi Alonso. See what Sunderland are coming into next season. Won't have as much money spent this year as they did last year. A lot of turmoil on the bottom end of the table. So Leeds have a good chance this summer to push on. So would like to see what his reaction is after the game. Would like to see what questions he has asked. I'm sure Parag Marathe will be likely there today as well. I'm sure he'll likely try and get an interview if he can. He did the interview at the start of the season against Everton, talked about how ambitious Leeds want to be. Interesting to top and tail that off come the end of this year. Overall performance-wise, thought it was really good from Leeds. Sloppy in the final third. We didn't find the final ball enough. I think we'd one shot. Am I right? One big chance. 7 shots in total. Shots on target. I have to have a look at that because I think we'd one shot on target. That was the goal. Possibly. Which is unusual for us this season, to be completely honest. But yeah, I can quickly look at the stats. Our XG was expected goals 0.7. We've outperformed that. One big chance, one goal. 7 shots in total. Let's have a look at the attacking shots. Shot on target, 1. Yeah. 1 shot on target, 1 goal. 100% conversion rate today for Leeds. So that was excellent. But yeah, when you go back and look at it, midfield was very good. Defense was really, really solid. Fullbacks had a good game as well. Thought James Justin was really strong as well. You go through the individual performances. Carl Darlow, yet again, by the way, pulls off an absolutely phenomenal save in the first half from a shot from, I think it was Pascal Gross, as it just at the last second moves away from him. It's a great save by Carl Darlow. And then he does the basic stuff really, really well, coming and catching the ball, taking the pressure off the back line. I mean, he's done anything he could possibly do to get a new contract at Leeds, and they need to make sure to keep him next season. Regardless of what they do with the goalkeeping situation, Darlow needs to be part of that squad next season. He has absolutely earned that contract. The back three, Joe Rodon, brilliant game today. Thought he was at his absolute best again today. Love him. Incredibly solid performance. Jakob Bial, again, doesn't always get the praise he deserves. Even after the last game, he had 17 clearances in our last match, double anybody else, and nobody was really talking about him. So for me, he is brilliant. People are saying the Vultures need to stay away from him. He's had a great season for Leeds. He's been a fantastic signing. Sebastian Bornau came in, and as he has done all season, he just slotted right in. He was brought in to be a backup option, a covering defender. When he has had to cover for Leeds, he has been absolutely brilliant. Mark B is saying, what was the Farke reaction you mentioned? Mark, it's a long story to get into. I'm interested to see what his reaction is after the game on his lap of honor. I'm curious to see that. If you want to get the other reaction, it's about his press conference. You can check out that video because it's a long conversation, Mark. Then you go to the midfield or the wing backs. James Justin, excellent game from him as well. Deputizes very well. Again, what a signing he's been for Leeds this season. Dan James looked more like the old Dan James. Crossing still not perfect. He's had a really tough year, Dan James, but did well in that position. Willie Nanto, when he came on from, was very, very good defensively as well. And he had one shot that was unlucky not to find the target. Anton Stach, really good game midfield up until he got injured. Hopefully that's not that bad. We'll keep an eye on it. Ethan Ampadu, for me, brilliant game. Marshall, the midfield, fantastic. Passing was good. Kept it simple, kept it clean, kept it tidy, took the pressure off when we needed to. Left a bit on players when he needed to as well. Got stuck in, flattened Georgie on his return as well at one point as well. So, yeah, really, really good game from him. Out Tanaka, a bit sloppy in possession, but decent game. Interceptions were good. Defensive work was excellent. Getting in and around. But, yeah, probably not the level of everybody else in the midfield today, but decent shot. Longstaff, when he came in for him, was really, really good in that middle of the park as well. And then up top, Brendan Aronson, exactly what you expect from Brendan. Some nice touches in the first half. Got Leeds moving forward a couple of times, then lost it a few times. But in general, a decent 60 minutes, 58 minutes. We got very early changes today. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin won his headers, held the ball up when he could, and then took his chance when he finally got it. So overall, yeah, really good. But it was a game in the first half where it was a bit of both sides were in it. I didn't think it was a bad game to watch. Both sides had a go. Both sides lacked a bit of quality when they got to the final third. Both sides weren't really finding the final ball. And if you look at the first half in total, from the positive perspective, I thought Leeds were very composed in that first half. Didn't look like a side that had just come into the Premier League and were trying to manage out the season. Played very well. Good defensive performance, good defensive block, and Carl Darlow, one of the main positives of that first half and second half. The negatives for me, there was only one negative for me really in that first half, and that was Leeds just finding that final ball. It's the only thing that was lacking for me in the first half. And funny enough, the comments for the second half are pretty similar as well. Leeds, positives, very strong defensive shape. And when they had to defend and get the bodies in the way, they got their bodies in the way. Thought that was excellent. And a real end of season game. It did start to feel like that towards the end. They're just managing that game out, giving players that haven't gotten a couple of minutes a chance maybe to say goodbye. And I've no problem with that. That's the final game should be used for when you're safe. Negatives, again, that final ball. And then the best through ball that Leeds had in the entire 90 minutes comes from Van Hecke after he plays Sam Byron's pass halfway between the keeper and Lewis Dunk. And then for me, the keeper for Bruggen doesn't need to come for that, but does. Calvert-Lewin sees it, nicks it, gets in behind, passes the ball in the back of net. Great finish to a great season for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 14 goals for Dominic Calvert-Lewin this season. I think, and I'm going to have a look at this now, I'm pretty sure that's possibly his best season in a long, long time. So he's got, 15 goals in total this season. Premier League-wise, 14 league goals. You go back to his next best season, which was 2021. He got 16 Premier League goals that year. No assists. So 16 G&A. He levels that with the best season he had under Antonucci. So, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely excellent. And, yeah, just a really good game. I'm not going to keep you here long today, I don't think, folks, because it was just a real end-of-season match. There wasn't going to be a huge amount of stuff to talk about. But interesting, Daniel Farke's press conference at the end of the game. What people say to him. It's going to be another week or so, I think, before we get to conversations with the board and what's coming out of that. I don't think, as I say, he said anything out of turn or anything out of hand. The board talked about how ambitious they were at the start of the season. He's talking about ambition right now. That should all line up. And it should be fine. If it's not fine and their ambition doesn't line up with him, then as fans, that's when we should be worried. Paul, thanks for the super chat, mate. And we'll go through a couple of your comments real quick before we wrap it up and then go back over to Big Up for the game. Paul Brody with the super chat. Thanks very much for just Paul's been at me over on Big Up all morning. Stick Mez in the next game. Sure, Spuds go down. I would let Alex Cairns play in the next game, if I'm being honest about it. Mez is on his way out. Graham Noble says Leeds unbelievable position in the league. Yeah, never give up. Dick Tatumi. Jesus, man. Consider both of our wingbacks were out. Very good display. Man of the match, Carl Darlow. Ken says we finally beat Brighton, our first win in 8. And again, you look at the amount of things that Daniel Farke, and I criticized Daniel Farke before the Man City game, after the Aston Villa game. But you look at what he has done since then, the amount of hoodoos that he has broken that Leeds have had, and another one today. Still think Melly is better than Darlow. Yeah, he's definitely not. Bob says we've had a great season, to be fair. We have. Natrosin says the sun is shining, Leeds are winning, happy days. Toriatili says our most important signing this summer is Ampadu. Get him a new deal. He's been brilliant. Well, he wasn't signed this season, but you get what you're saying. All boxed up says on a serious note, all the doubters about the signings, 49ers did they have done a fantastic job for the last 3 summer transfer windows. You look at that team that's on the screen right there, and bar Brendan Aronson, every single player on that they bought. That says an awful lot. Lorenzo said, is there any Welsh strikers being linked to Leeds? Not at the moment, there's not, no. Michael Brown says, if you had said at the start of the season that Leeds would finish ahead of West Ham, Spurs and Nottingham Forest, established Premier League clubs, I would have said you've lost your mind. Tells you how good the season's been. Josh says, amazed at how many games we have clawed undeserved points, completely opposite from 5 months ago when we were dropping rather than gained. Yeah, and I think, again, if you look at the season as a whole overall, it's probably balanced itself out in terms of there were games this season at the start of the year where we played better and deserved more, and we didn't get anything. And there's been games in the second half of the season where we necessarily haven't possibly deserved something and managed to get something. But that comes down to being effective on the pitch, and well done to them. Lorenzo said Darlow was huge today. Yep. Ragley Beaks said, man, how much Chelsea needs someone like Amps. Don't even throw it out there. They're not getting him. Mark says, oh, yeah, seen that. I thought you meant today. This is obviously a conversation with somebody else. Happy Sam was on the field for the finish and made 2 very important blocks as well, as should be pointed out. Angus says, matching on together. Great performance from everyone. Saves, defending, and the goal, MOT. Joe says, need to back Farke he has, he has these dedicated. He hasn't playing for him. Eric says, hate that the US broadcast cut away from the game at the end. Would have liked to see the crowd recognize the players. Daniel Farke gets his flowers, deservedly so. The players get their flowers, deservedly so. And the board should get their flowers, deservedly slow. And then we put a full stop in this season and we move on. There is credit in the bank for me. Need to sell James, not his position and not a position we need. He plays right wing back for Wales. I think long term he ends up as a right wing back. I think he's decent there as well. I'm not sure what we do with him. Mark says, what was Farke's reaction? Oh, we already covered that one already. And we'll jump into a couple of the earlier chats that came in. Anthony Calorie says, not a performance, but we'll take the win. Steve says, talk about robbery, take it all day. Love it, says Neil. Only Leeds can do that, marching together. What a team, says Neil. Farke might just make me eat my words, says Free Falling. Anthony says, no better time in football to score a goal. What a team, says TJ. Free Falling, if he does, I deserve it. Good. SSD says, if you looked at the stats, we got murdered. What's the question? The comment they make? The only stat that actually matters is the one on the score sheet. TJ says Forest can't catch us 15th at worst. Get the F in what a game. This team can't wait for next season. Didn't think I'd be saying that. Absolutely. Lace your boots, Jer. You're playing next week. Yeah, it's a day off next week, and I'd be much happier to see Spurs go down than West Ham, to be honest with you. It's financially better for Leeds, but we'll see. Mick Fanning says, some season, lads, absolutely stole that. Thank you and good night. Neil says, Newcastle stole it from us. What goes around comes around. Will Farke be here next season, says Nigel. That's a question. Hopefully. Darlow, man of the match, 7 saves. SSD says, remember the days when we looked at the teams and said, yeah, we'll win that. I want them back. Anton ankle didn't look good. No, it didn't. Stretch it off. A lot of blood. It was crazy. Yeah. Hopefully just a tear in the skin and he's okay. Ted says, what a steal. Yes, it was, but we've been on the other end of that this season. Books are now balanced. We are now 13th. Most wonderful. Don't think we stole it. I think we defended really well and we took our chance. Kraken Game Productions says, Farke has proved himself. Give him every demand. Lock him down for another 4 or 5 years. Are they wanting to sell the best from under Farke? I mean, that's going to be the question, Nigel. Can we keep our better players and sign better ones than the players we need to move out? That's the question. And I think what he was saying is important. If they don't back his ambition, they're not going to back anybody's ambition. And we should be, as fans, we should be concerned about that. And that's not to say that is the case. Nobody has said that. But I think he's basically saying, you've said you're ambitious, so am I, then let's go. Now, there is not PSR, SCR to be considered in the summer. But if Leeds have again another 100 million quid to spend, if they can sell a couple of players to add to that and not sell players, not buy players and then sell players to recoup that money, then it's a different situation. But I do think we will sell some of our players. I think there's possibly question marks around Stroke's future if he wants to sign a new deal or if Leeds cash in. So I think there might be one sacrificial lamb, but as long as they can rebalance the squad elsewhere and get more creative players in to try and score more goals, I think we're in a very good position. Anyway, we'll go back to a couple of the later ones. We start to wrap it up. Get in, lads. Then sell. Get new lads, then sell. Thank you. These injuries didn't help earlier in the season. Thankfully, these injuries didn't help earlier in the season. Recruitment has to be better. We need backup. I don't think the recruitment has to be better than anything. I think the recruitment's been excellent. I think it's proven it this season as well, but it needs to be good during this summer coming. Summer's going to be interesting, says Vega. 2-0 typo. Did I say 2-0? Where's the typo? Did I put 2-0 on the typo? I didn't. Nope, it's 1-0. Where's the typo? I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, we'll start to wrap it up there. Lorenzo says, I think a lot of players need upgrading. A lot of positions do need upgrading. And it is something Leeds will need to look at in the summer. Sentimentality will need to be parked to one side. By the way, massive thanks, Kenneth, for the super chat. What a season. Cheers from Wisconsin. Have a point on me. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And super chat from Free Fall. And Farke is making me eat my words. So happy he is. Cheers, Jer. Cheers to you. Cheers to everyone that's watched all of these this year. You put 2-0 in. That's a panic attack there, Scooby. Andy says, flashback, Ampadu reminded me of Billy Bremner. And Simon says, only 2 teams beat us home and away. Yeah, it's a really strong position for Leeds to be in. So, yeah, look, we're in a good spot. I'm going to head over to bigup.com. You can join me there if you want to watch along for West Ham and Newcastle. Outside of that, I will be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. I will talk to you then. Have a great rest of your evening and weekend. I'll talk to you soon. See you later.